Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's good to be here. It's episode 39. Oof, that's a strong one.
Why?
I don't know, because it's close to 40.
You like that number?
40,
It's we're almost 40, yeah.
We're almost 40 episodes. It's October, mid-October. The year's almost gone.
It's midlife crisis age.
Yeah, we've done so much in the last year. You know, our podcast, I think, gets better every week, and we get better every week. I'm still working on my starting statement, my intro. It's
It's a work in progress.
yeah, another week, another
I
episode.
mean, at this point, I want it to be like a shirt. Like I think that's just your mantra now.
Oh, that is true. Well,
It's another great week,
Yeah.
another great episode.
the funny thing is that
The Pressing Buttons podcast.
everybody on the Discord, every now and then somebody will just do the intro because they think it's funny and they want to mock me, and I enjoy that. So if you hear me and you want to throw the intro at me, feel free. I have no shame.
You're at a point where you just got to embrace it now.
Yeah, and that's how I know I'm popular. But anyways,
One way to view it.
yeah. But anyways, well, I'm just happy. We have a good podcast. We're almost at the end of the year. Year strong. We're doing good, and many more things to come, which we don't.
I still can't believe we've only had 2 weeks that
2
we
weeks
didn't do
release.
it,
Yeah,
which is
and then we made up
unbelievable.
for it. Yeah, we made up for it by releasing the Evo video and keeping everybody updated on Discord. So, well, I think this is the most work I've actually done.
Maybe it is a great podcast.
Yeah,
You were right this whole time.
this is the most work I've ever done for anything. Not even in my real job, which I got a new job opportunity. So I started a new job on Monday. So that's pretty cool, you know?
So that'll be the end of the podcast, basically, is what you're telling me.
Maybe.
Okay.
I won't have as much free time.
Great.
I love my old job because of all the free time. And everybody knows, well, everybody knew on the Discord that I had a lot of free time.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I don't think we ever actually played any games together, but
Well, I played a lot of games.
anytime I was in Discord, I'm just like, oh, there's Hugo. He's online
Playing Destiny
playing
or,
games.
or playing some random game, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss my old job.
It's jealousy, so...
You know, and my old co-workers who this is not a podcast for them, but they listen to support. I miss you guys too. All right, not to get sappy anymore, but let's start the show. It's a slow week this week and not a lot of news, but we scoured the internet for video game news and we found, I think, enough news to make an episode.
It's going to be a lean episode.
Yeah, but you guys tune in every week, so you're here. All right, we're first going to start off with the Meta Quest Pro. Facebook hosted an event showing off the VR headset. I know a couple of episodes back we talked about the regular Meta Quest and how they actually raised the price on the headset. And now they just announced the price tag on the new advanced version. It's a $1,500 price tag. Orders start October 25th. They had a whole presentation about it. They're aiming it towards working professionals, whatever that means, and they partner with...
Well, I guess you're going to be one of those now, right?
No, because I don't need the VR for anything. I'm actually going to be walking around doing things.
Oh, yeah, it's actually important that you are in the real world.
Yeah. you probably need it.
Yeah, I could be virtual.
Yeah, definitely not me. I need to actually be walking around.
Okay.
They partner with Microsoft to bring Windows 365 to the platform, and they're trying to create a new virtual office, which is what they said. For me, I saw this. Well, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw the snippets of it, read about it. I got from this, they're definitely not pushing it towards anything video game related, I would say. Anything to push the boundaries of video game development. I think they're definitely trying to push it as a work thing. And that, to me, it's a little bit sad, just because they started off, not that I had trust in them, it's Facebook. They started off with ambitions of competing with the Vive, and is it the Vive?
Vive, yeah.
For Steam.
Valve, yeah.
Yeah. To compete with the Vive and to compete with PlayStation VR. They started with ambitions to do that, to make a name for themselves in the gaming market. And it just seems like, they kind of did a whole 180, and now they're focusing more on working production, like office stuff. And it kind of makes me sad because now I won't see competition coming from them. Not that I thought they were going to do that, but it's just like it's weird that they're just kind of pushing it to working professionals, and for it to be like an office too and all that stuff, which also, like, who's going to pay $1,500? What company has that those amount of resources to pay $1,500 for their employees to just basically have a virtual office, which they probably already do because they work at home.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Are you like, did this shock you?
I wouldn't say it shocked me, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they've done like a 180. Because I think they're going to continue on with like, the Oculus Quest, like non-pro edition, and maybe that's, more oriented towards like a gaming audience. So I think they'll just have multiple products, multiple headsets in the market. Some will be more geared towards like enterprise clients, and others will be more kind of mass market and probably more gaming oriented. But yeah, this conference was definitely, I would say, more broadly focused on enterprise clients and making that more clear to, I think, people who are asking a lot of questions around what the future of Meta is. But they did talk about games a little bit, maybe not in the main kind of showcase, but in some of the other sessions that they had. They talked about like game developers and how much success they had with putting their games on MetaQuest, and it was actually kind of like, I found it like they were almost kind of like defensive with like, oh, if you put your game on here, you make at least, they had this many games making this many millions of dollars, and this many games making millions of dollars, and so I think they were almost kind of like, almost like a little defensive, the way I kind of read that, with maybe people not thinking that it's worth putting their games on their platforms. So there's a little bit of gaming coverage, but again, mostly focused on the workplace, which, yeah, I mean, $1,500 sounds like a lot. I think it is like a awesome piece of equipment, and I guess maybe from their perspective, they're like, okay, if you're a major corporation, you're onboarding employees, whenever they do that, like they generally give an employee like a laptop or some sort of computer, which is probably about $1,000 to $1,500 to begin with. So this would effectively be like just kind of doubling that.
Because you would also need the computer too, right?
Well, I think
they're making it so
it's standalone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can use a standalone, but I'm pretty sure if someone's gonna continue to need a laptop or some sort of computer. So I think that maybe that was their mindset, where if it's a corporation, they already have like a lot of money. They just kind of roll it into the cost of getting either like new employees or existing employees. So no, I think that's what they're trying to do, and then it's really just a question of how many companies are actually convinced that this is going to lead to like incremental value for their business. Like, are employees actually going to engage with it? Is that going to lead to like meaningfully better productivity and output for people who use this stuff? So to me, that's like the biggest question, whether people are actually going to do that. Me personally, like, I want nothing to do with wearing it for like I'm in so many meetings all the time. I think it's, it kind of is what it is. Like, I don't think doing a more engaged, virtual version of meetings is something that I'll see a ton of benefit in. Maybe for certain teams, like maybe more, visual graphic teams, like maybe there's something there, but so I don't know. That was kind of my takeaway. I think it's very impressive technology. I'm not convinced that there's going to be a ton of adoption of it from enterprise clients in the near term.
Well, you also have to think about, even though they have Microsoft kind of doing the whole 365, the Office 365 on the platform, and what was the other company you mentioned?
Accenture.
Yeah, and they do enterprise stuff on.
Yeah, they're a big consulting company. They have like a whole team that's like very focused on all of this, like metaverse and virtual virtual productivity and digital asset management and data and all that stuff. So yeah, the fact that the main partners that they spent a lot of time on was Microsoft and Accenture. It kind of tells you a lot around
What
how
the
they're
main focus,
targeting, how they're targeting this. And it wasn't. They did mention gaming. You know, I think when Satya Nadella, who's the CEO of Microsoft, he talked a little bit about what they're trying to do. You know, he mentioned gaming as a thing, but I think, you know, again, the spotlight was really on 365, which is the new branding for what people mainly know as like
Office.
Microsoft Office and Excel and all that, and Teams.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was gonna say, it's gonna be tough to if you're another company, if you're another developer, to see who's gonna jump on board, who's gonna dedicate all the resources to make like MetaQuest specific programs to fit in that environment and stuff like that. So, us as gamers, I think we're just, we see it as, oh yeah, I want to game on that. Where they see it as, this could be your whole life in virtual, and you can work. They see it as a worker thing. We don't want to work, so it's definitely it's not.
we don't want to work.
Well, yeah, on my end, definitely not something I think I'll be using. Especially because I'm not like a big proponent of VR. I think I don't think I've done enough VR where something captivates me. I know you are like you have the vibe and you played a lot of VR stuff and you enjoy it. And I think it's a cool system. I just something that doesn't draw me in. I'd rather stick to like controller and my PlayStation and the PC and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's basically what is the gateway to adoption of virtual reality hardware and software. And I know it's been taking like a lot of time, but like I'm still a believer that like entertainment experiences will lead to adoption of that. It just has been maybe moving slower than like a lot of people might have thought, going back to when the Vive was initially launched, and there was tons of hype around and Oculus as well around that time. So there was a ton of hype around then that's kind of like died off. But I think in the long term, I'm still a believer that like entertainment will be the key to that. Whereas Meta, I think, is more on the. I think they also believe that, but it seems like they have at a minimum, it's like complementary with this whole workplace and productivity angle. But it almost kind of seems like they're emphasizing that now. And I think there's a lot of mixed opinions in the market around whether that's actually going to, lead to adoption. So,
gotcha.
We'll see.
Well, and then along those same heels, they also had a showcase for Horizon Worlds, which it's not Horizon Zero Dawn stuff. I just learned that it's actually the meta universe that they have for Facebook, where you have your own avatar and stuff, right?
Yeah, which is basically like PlayStation Home from 10 years ago or whatever. Yeah.
That was from PlayStation. It was on the PlayStation 3.
It was PS3, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10...
Somewhere around there. It was a while ago. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Which brings us to kind of like, they showed off Horizon Worlds. You have your avatars. You walk around. You can interact with other people. Their big update on that was basically that you can now have legs, which is kind of funny. But I just bring it up just to kind of see the contrast, because like we discussed earlier, they're doing this whole productivity work office thing with the Meta Quest, but then they're also trying to push this virtual world with the Horizon Worlds for all the Facebook users, and they're trying to incorporate more stuff. But I personally think they're not doing a great job at it, just because, like you said, PlayStation Home existed 10, 15 years ago, and that was like okay, but it was like a virtual world that nobody really wanted to spend more time in a virtual world doing virtual things. You also had the Me Universe, which came out with the Nintendo Wii, and a lot of people liked that, but it was just because you didn't have to like do too much in it. You just had your own avatar, and you could use the avatar for certain things. And then the Xbox itself had avatars where you could customize them and do whatever, and you can kind of see them in the game. So that brings me to the point of like, they're doing all these things that have been done before, and they're trying to like make it like, oh, but Facebook is going to do it different, and because we have all this big audience that interacts with our platform, and we're trying to make the metaverse and all that stuff. they think it's working for them, but for the numbers say otherwise. You have like I think at most 8,000 users on their platform that they spend billions on. I think it's not looking good, especially if this is like their main push for gaming to push the VR into gaming. It's not looking well. Uh,
Yeah.
did you think that, do you want to be part of the metaverse? Do you want to be part of Horizon Worlds now that you have legs?
No.
No.
But it's good to finally have some legs. It's actually been kind of funny. I think even over the last like maybe like 6 to 12 months, where I think the first version of the avatars and Horizons were basically like, oh, like that, Nintendo did that however long ago with the me avatar system. They did show kind of jointly with like the legs announcement was just like a better, a more detailed and better version of their avatar system, which kind of looked more like Fortnite skins. Like it had the style
Yeah.
guide of like kind of, so it was Mark Zuckerberg. Like if you saw that in Fortnite, that would like probably look about right. Um, so yeah, I guess, and then they did show, what I was actually pretty impressed by was less about, that announcement and Horizons or whatever. They did show more like research and development type stuff where, more focused on photoreal, avatars and what they're trying to accomplish with that. And that technology was super impressive. But again, the big question is like, will those avatars be gated or kind of locked to just Horizon worlds, or where will you be able to use those avatars? So, and yeah, I guess going back to your question around Horizon worlds, there's we're seeing this a lot where like a lot of these companies have kind of popped up out of nowhere. There are these like quote, metaverse worlds that they're building, so there's like Decentraland and the Sandbox and like those types of worlds. I think Horizon is another version of that. And there's been a lot of data points coming out over the last couple of weeks around just how basically nobody's, the like daily active user count is like very low, which to me is like not surprising. When you like take a step back and you think about like, what do people actually do in these things, and like what is their motivation to like come back and continue to engage in those worlds, and like there's like basically no, like there's no reason. So I think we're still pretty far away where there's a large number of these metaverse environments where people like really want to come back and spend a lot of time in. And I think that's why a lot of people look to games as like the kind of like the foundation for what should a metaverse world or like environment look like, because there's gameplay and asset economies and all these things that give people a reason to like want to come back and play. So I think a lot of these kind of newcomers to virtual environments, I think we're still multiple years away before they actually figure out what the games industry has like been figuring out for the last like 5 to 10 years. So
and it's tough to find like that right person to kind of lead that, because I do think jumping off of your points is like, if they manage to like combine it and make an interesting world, even whether it be gaming or maybe like an entertainment property, something with like Marvel or something like that, where it's attractive enough for somebody, where like somebody just unlocks that potential, and just makes it more attractive for regular Joe Schmo to kind of be like, oh, this seems interesting and it's easy enough where I can get into it. I think they're just waiting on that, but it's definitely a 5 to 10 years off. I think just because they're not there yet. They're thinking of it as a product to make them money, where like with video games, they're products that are fun that people are drawn to because they want to be there, they want to enjoy it and stuff like that. I think when they kind of unlock that, I think it will definitely change. Not that I will get into it because I'm anti-Facebook, so I'll stay away unless it's compelling enough.
yeah.
But I think they need to kind of start steering towards that. Otherwise, it's going to be like the Stadia or whatever, or Google Glass or Google Hangouts like a dead thing because people aren't gonna flock to it.
I don't know, man. I think they're like all in on, like, they changed the name of the company.
Yeah,
They're
that's true.
like
They
they're
have put,
spending.
yeah, they're putting a lot of money.
They're like, I think they're kind of, beyond the point of return. So I think they're all in on it, and they've been very open and transparent around, like, hey guys, like, we're investing a lot of money now. This is a long-term strategy. It's 5 to 10 years away before a lot of the stuff we're talking about now really like takes off. So I think they've been pretty open about that, but I think they've been kind of hit with like a double whammy where it's very expensive to build all this stuff. So they're spending millions of dollars, but from their core business, they're also seeing like a lot of pressure from their core advertising business, where revenues are not growing, maybe even declining. I actually haven't been following but they're seeing like a lot of downward pressure on their revenues,
Yeah,
just from their core business. So they're kind of getting squeezed. So I wouldn't be surprised if this whole like enterprise angle is like they're just trying to find people who have the money to buy the equipment,
yeah.
and then if they can get like a lot of large enterprise clients to buy this stuff, like maybe that kind of helps manage the bleeding a bit
They succeed
until
somewhere, and it'll open up the path for something else.
yeah. But I think so. That's good. It's tough. It's tough to balance, right? Because I think when you're directly speaking to consumers want everything yesterday. They don't want to wait 5 years from now. So I think that's kind of this tricky situation they're in, like trying to manage consumer expectations with this like long-term vision that they have.
Yeah, especially the consumers that they have, which are all the Facebook users that they have. Whereas like us gamers, we're used to waiting years for things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think for like a mass market proposition, I think it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough to manage.
Well, that's the most I've talked about Facebook/Meta in a while, and interesting stuff. I just hope they kind of it work themselves more into gaming, which is my area of expertise and where I want to be at. So we'll see what the future holds. Hopefully, they do something.
Yeah, I'm still. I think I've mentioned this. I was like a early adopter. I had an HTC Vive, version 1 on like launch day. And that was, what was that, like 6
like
years ago?
4 to 6, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm in them for really no reason other than like I just kind of feel like I need a new one. Like I haven't really seen anything to compel me to like want to buy one. I just kind of feel like I want a new VR headset. So next year I'm in the market for a VR headset. I'll probably lean toward PSVR 2. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like I didn't see anything from Facebook to suggest that like I'm going in with Oculus. Probably PSVR 2. Maybe we see something cool from Valve, over the next 6 to 12 months. But so I'm still on team PlayStation.
Yeah, it seems like Sony, when it comes to VR gaming, they're the ones that are like pushing it the most, where they're pushing full support because they have a lot of games and they already have the PlayStation. And even though the Vive is out there, I feel like because it is Valve does release good games for it, or the 2 or 3 games that they release for it, but like nobody else is really supporting it as much as they would support the PlayStation, since they have so many adopters already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so that does it for Facebook talk. We're going to move on to some Elden Ring talk. As you guys know from our first couple episodes that we did.
First months of episodes.
Yeah, this was an Elden Ring podcast.
There was an Elden Ring podcast for a while.
And we did a whole review on it. We loved the game so much. We still love the game. We both completed it. And they just released a patch. The main reason, who wants to talk about a patch? But the main reason we brought it up is because it was a big patch to kind of fix a lot of stuff for PvP and PvE, but also within that patch there was a lot of metadata that was uncovered that is teasing DLC coming out soon for the game. Most likely with the Game Awards coming up or something like that, it'll probably get announced then or released around that time, just because it'll be like the 1-year anniversary of the game. So we're excited for that. I want to see kind of more from Software. I know they kind of moved on to the next game, but they're still working on this. Elden Ring stuff. I kind of want to see more worlds, but I kind of, because Elden Ring was such an open world, uh, it kind of, I could, I guess, diminish the accomplishments that you were able to do just because you could go anywhere. I want to kind of see more of a tight knit DLC and see what they offer in terms of like make it seem like Dark Souls 1 or 2 or something like that, or Bloodborne. What are you looking forward to in this DLC?
I just want more. Like I think I played the game for like 120 hours. So it's like
Yeah,
by far the most, like the longest I've played any of these from software games. Uh, I think I've admitted that I have no idea what's going on in these games, like in terms from like a lore story perspective.
yeah. In any
So
game, yeah, you got to definitely catch up.
really, any game I have no idea what's going on, but like
Yeah,
specifically from software games, like I just don't know really what's going on with the story. So am I completely unable to project like, oh yeah, based on what was going on in the story, like here's interesting paths that the DLC could explore. So
yeah,
I really have nothing, no good ideas. I just want more. Um, I like all the expansions were like I thought great from the Dark Souls series. I don't think there wasn't any meaningful DLC story DLC for Sekiro, right?
yeah. I think Sekiro was their only
Yeah,
franchise that they
I think they were pretty open
and
about that, right? They were
and it
like,
was
"Hey,
mostly it
we're
was mostly because it was Activision Blizzard published it, so they weren't really like it wasn't
oh,
their thing.
that's right,
I
yeah,
think that's why they didn't really do DLC for it.
yeah. I think that's probably right, yeah,
But this brings up another point. It's like we thought that this was going to be a big year for video games, but with a lot of delays and stuff like that, Starfield getting delayed, Breath of the Wild getting delayed,
Skull and Bones,
Skull and Bones, that I want to be
my
a
most
pirate.
anticipated title.
Yeah, I want to be a pirate so bad. With so many of these titles getting delayed, Elden Ring really, I think, was. I mean, I may be wrong, but I think Elden Ring was the major title for the year.
Elden Ring, God of
And God of
War,
War obviously coming out next month. I think these are the only two titles where we thought this was the year that there was going to be way more titles
yeah.
offered. But I'm excited. Next month, obviously, God of War. It's about 3 weeks away. Comes out on the 9th. Definitely, we're gonna play it. I actually gotta see if I.
I'll have the TV unit.
Yeah, finally,
Will
hopefully.
be here.
I have been meaning to kind of get back into God of War, replay God of War 2018, just to kind of get back in the groove of it. And then I'll probably do the same thing for Elden Ring once I get like a firm date on DLC, get back into it. It's one of those things I think we as gamers do to kind of immerse ourselves back into the games that we like. But yeah, I'm hoping they do announce some DLC stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to remember. I specifically stopped playing Elden Ring because I was playing it like so
Too
much
much.
to the point where my wife was just like, what are you doing in here all night?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm playing Elden Ring.
It,
Like
it,
that's
it had been a while. We
but
discussed this. It had been a while since we stayed up really late to play like a
yeah.
game and talk about it because we were up to like 1 or 2 in the morning just
Yeah, but I
doing
think
stuff.
I can't remember exactly where I left off with. I think I might have been like trying to respec one of my characters, or maybe I was trying to just like experiment with a new builds, and then oh yeah, because I was basically like my main character was basically like Guts
Yeah.
from Berserk, like in terms of like there's like
Big
a
old
Berserker
sword
armor,
hitting
yeah,
shit.
giant sword, great sword. But I think I was like starting to experiment with another build, and I basically was like, I'm gonna stop,
Yeah.
put the controllers down, and just wait until the DLC. So there's been some like pretty meaningful patches and updates, but I've just been like, I'm just gonna wait until there's new story
Yeah.
content before I go back in. So yeah, so that'll be good when that comes out. But yeah, it's really, I mean, in terms of new, I mean, it's basically game of the year will be Elden Ring versus God of War, and then the biggest surprise for me was Neon White, which I really liked. But yeah, other than that, it's been a
It's been a dead year.
pretty slow year. So
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
2023 is the new 2022.
yeah. Well, we'll have our thoughts once we play also God of War, and we'll have like a end of the year, games of the year.
Yeah,
Episode.
they're gonna get. I'm sure it's gonna be like incredible, and then they're gonna get a lot of like recency bias of like
Yeah.
it literally just came out, and so I think that's gonna do them a lot of favors with the award season. But
I mean, but I think we're both in agreement that God of War definitely, like, even if it does have recency bias, it has to be top notch to like beat Elden Ring.
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think it'll be awesome, but it's gonna be a close. I think it'll be close to like, do we give it to Elden Ring, and how many people were talking about it, and how many people were playing it, even people who don't necessarily like those type of games, or do we give it to God of War, who I'm pretty sure will be great, but it's more recent. But we'll have thoughts on that, and we'll do like we're definitely gonna do like an end of the year, game of the year episode, and we'll run down through
Oh my god.
games of the year that we played, because we do play a lot of games, even though like we're always like, damn, we don't have any games to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're always playing something.
Yeah.
Could Yakuza be one?
Yeah.
There's like your personal game of the year, which could be just a game, didn't come out that
Yeah.
year, but is it something that you really enjoyed?
I think it could be. I think
Yeah?
it could be. I put so much time in. I like the world and all that stuff.
Okay.
I still have yet to play like a dragon, which is, like I said before, it's on there. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
But you will want to see that list once we do the video. So make sure you're up to date with pressing buttons. All right, and that kind of does it for the news of the week. We didn't, like I said,
Wow.
we talked
Not
about
much.
Facebook. We talked about Elden Ring. It was a slow week. We didn't really have too much big news. Everything we looked at was like, this isn't enough, and we couldn't really go in depth into it. But I think,
It's pretty bleak when we're talking about a patch. A
Yeah.
patch as a news item.
but we did talk about the Facebook stuff. I thought that was interesting, and that was good material, and it was a lot to take in. So future of VR, we'll see. We're gonna just move in straight into closing thoughts. I'll start off first, obviously, like all the time.
You don't need to say obviously. You can just
Well, you know,
just do it.
our viewers will one day be like, "Oh, Nick started first today." I think there was one episode where you started first.
Yeah, and you caught me off guard. I was not prepared. It, like razzled me.
Yeah, it's funny to throw throw
No,
a
it's
little
not-
wrench in the system
it's not
every now and
funny.
then. The viewers love it, I'm pretty
It's
sure.
not funny.
All right, so I've watched some anime this week. A lot of my friends on Discord, on our Pressing Buttons Discord, and in my WhatsApp chats. Very excited week. Bleach just I don't know if you ever watched Bleach. Did you ever watch Bleach?
I never watched it. I'm like familiar with it, but
Yeah.
I never got into it.
Good anime. It ended, I think, like 10 years ago, because the anime caught up to the manga, so they couldn't really continue the process. And instead of doing fillers, they just kind of shut it down completely. And there was a very big third arc that they did in the manga that wasn't animated. So they just started the anime with the new arc, the 1,000-Year Blood War.
It's a cool name.
It's a very cool anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bleach is like a very cool anime. Like if I was an animator, Bleach would be something I would love to animate just because it's very visually appealing to people. The characters are appealing to people. The powers are appealing to people and all that stuff. And who doesn't love swords, which is like the main thing that everybody has. But whatever. So Bleach just came out.
It's not about a laundromat.
No.
Okay.
I thought it was when I first read it, like
Okay.
back when I was like 16. But yeah, it just came out, first episode. Really enjoyed it. It was just kind of a catch-up episodes in terms of like getting everybody back into it after 10 years of being off air. But the animation still looks great, and it's good to see that. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And also Chainsaw Man, which is about this kid who makes a pact with his little chainsaw demon after he gets killed, and he becomes Chainsaw Man. And I'm explaining it badly, but
I mean, I'm interested.
I think you would definitely,
based on that description.
yeah, I
so-
think you would definitely enjoy it. It's only going to be like 12 episodes, like how they did One Punch Man. It's only going to be 12 episodes because there's a part one. The manga was about 75 chapters, and that ended. So I think they're going to condense it into 12 episodes, which is pretty cool. Part two is out now. I don't know if they'll do an anime for that, but it's a very gory anime too, because the dude literally turns into like a chainsaw demon, and he's got chainsaws in his hands and in his face, and he's just chainsawing demons. I think definitely up your alley. So
Okay.
so check that out. And that's it on my anime front. Obviously, I'm a big anime guy. I'd rather read the manga though, just because I feel like I get more information out of the mangas. But I'm excited for this anime season with Bleach and Chainsaw Man. Also, Gundam, The Witch from Mercury just came out. I haven't seen any of those episodes, but those are on my list. And I've been watching like a whole bunch of old ones, like Vinland Saga, which is about Vikings, Hajime no Ippo, which is boxing. I'm a big anime connoisseur and manga connoisseur, so I'm excited. It's a good season. Um, as far as TV goes, only new show that I just finished up is Rings of Power. I know we talked about it. You're still waiting. You're still waiting for your TV stand.
I'm just in gridlock until I get this
to watch it. But
TV stand, man.
I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I'm a big, and we talked about this. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan like that. I would say, but I enjoyed the show. I'm pretty sure, like from the reviews I've read, people who are big Lord of the Rings fans, they've enjoyed it. They've enjoyed seeing like Middle Earth and all that stuff in the old days, the Golden Age or whatever it's called in that time. I think I'm excited for whatever the next season is, because this season 1 was more of like a world building thing, obviously with being the first season, and I'm excited to see what Amazon is going to be spending more money on. Send some of it our way, and I will also be excited, Amazon, if that ever happens. And then that's it. And then I've also been keeping up with the League of Legends group stage. The group stage are on this week. It's 4 groups, 4 teams, and then the top 2 teams from each group move on to the quarterfinals next week. So far, 2 days, 2 groups. They got the teams. North America, and Europe getting destroyed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
to be expected.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see, but a lot of the West, the Eastern teams, the Chinese teams and the Korean teams, they've been like killing it. So far in the 2 group stages that I've seen, it's either the Chinese or the Korean team taking the first 2 spots. So the quarterfinals so far are Chinese and Korean teams. There's one hope for a European team in today's group stage, and there's no hope in tomorrow's. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to see the competitiveness of it, just like live and stuff like that. I love the esports aspect of it. Unfortunately, could not get tickets, man. Oof.
I feel like with MOBAs, like it's just absolutely dominated by Asia in terms of like who wins those things. But with like fighting games, like I guess maybe specifically Street Fighter, I feel like it's like it's still like Japan, but like on average is like better.
Yeah, but now,
there's still
like North America and Europe, you always see them.
There's definitely really strong players who win top competitions. So I feel like it's a little more balanced than what I see in MOBAs. I feel like maybe Tekken's an outlier, where I feel like Tekken is pretty dominated by Korea.
Yeah, but then like Guilty Gear and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, it's European and American people who usually play it more. So it's good to see other countries. I just think they just have like a better teamwork kind of thing. Like they work better as a team. It is a team game, and obviously they do have like imports where like, oh, somebody from China or Korea is joining an American team, but I'm pretty sure the communication isn't great off the bat, because if you're from Korea or China and you mainly speak Korean or Chinese, and then now you're going to an American team and now you got to communicate. It's a lot of communication. So, even playing League with normal people, we suck at communication. So that's why I'm always losing. So, yeah.
I mean, even when you play Destiny, you guys, just failures to communicate.
Am I just bad at communicating?
Maybe, yeah. It's a good thing that you host a podcast. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm good at talking to people, not with people.
Okay, you're talking at people.
Yeah,
okay.
In video games. But yeah, so that's all I've been doing. Excited for Halloween stuff, because I think in the video game industry, I always do get excited for Halloween, because a lot of video game companies do a lot of Halloween stuff for their video games. League released some skins. Destiny's doing their Festival of the Lost next week, which they will also be doing Gundam skins for their characters, which is going to look cool.
In
So,
Destiny?
yeah, so I'm excited for that. Yeah,
That's cool.
last year it
I'm
was.
still not going to play it, but I
I'll
respect it.
yeah, I'll send some screenshots.
Okay.
Last year they did dinosaurs, so that was pretty cool. Where like every class would get like a dinosaur skin. So like I'm excited for this Halloween season, and we have a good surprise for you for our Halloween episode. Not gonna spoil it, but just 2 weeks from now, definitely want to be tuning in. All right, I rambled on too much. What about you?
Pretty
What are
cool.
your closing
I was
thoughts?
just going to say that, yeah, Halloween content. Maybe we can do like a wrap of that like next week in terms of like interesting Halloween content. But
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of like Final Fantasy 14 also does like a lot of cool stuff, and I was debating whether I actually
Wanna jump
reactivate my
in, yeah?
subscription just to like check that out for a little bit, because they also have been doing like lots of big patches.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll check that out.
Well, I mean, I've had my subscription since I stopped playing it, so I think I've been paying for Final Fantasy for 6 months. and
No,
not
really? I
playing-
thought
yeah.
you canceled. I told you to cancel it.
Oh yeah, but it's one of those things. It's like,
Man, that's brutal.
so
Okay.
maybe now I won't cancel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe we can actually finally play the game together. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
All right, Halloween content, and then I guess maybe kind of Halloweeny, but I played Scorn. So it's a game that just came out. It's I don't even know how to describe the game, but it's like, what's the artist? It's like H.R. Geiger
Yeah.
or Giger or something like that.
H.G. Geiger, one of those.
Yeah, it's
His last name's Geiger.
something like that. But I think someone's saying it's like it's Giger, but
Yeah, one of them.
everyone knows who
It's
we're
whatever
talking
we
about.
say.
Yeah. Okay. But he's got like a very distinct, like grotesque art style that he's famous for, and that's what this game leverages. So really the pitch for the game is like you're just in one of these grotesque worlds and you just gotta figure things out. So I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, and it looked like really nice from like a graphics perspective. So and it's on Game Pass, so it's one of those situations where
Might as well play it.
I might as well give it a whirl and see if I like it. So I hate the game. So the like
Good thing it's on Game
yeah,
Pass.
good thing I spent no money on this, because I hated it and uninstalled it within about like 20 minutes. Yeah, it's one of those things where like it looks cool, but like I don't know. Did you ever play the game The Witness?
No.
But it's maybe kind of like that, where in The Witness you're basically like on an island and you just kind of walk around and come across like puzzles, and so I didn't like that game either. So pretty quickly I was like, oh, this kind of feels like it's The Witness, where
Although no plot, it was just puzzles.
yeah, you're just like interacting with things and trying to figure out what they do. And then there's one like specific puzzle which I can't. It's like a grid thing, and you got to like move pieces around to get one piece to like the upper corner
Oh, one of
to be
those.
able to. And I'm just like,
That's what you gave
I'm
up?
done. Yeah, I'm like I just don't care. Like so. And I actually saw like a lot of people talking about like that was the specific point in time where they're like, this game isn't
I'm
for
bailing.
me. Yeah. So I've seen people playing it where it seems to get a little bit more. I think there's more to do than that, but just like that whole puzzle element in like the first hour of it was just like a huge turnoff for me. So and I think it's also like a pretty short game. So it's like 45 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I think the consensus, same consensus that you had. I think the consensus on the internet is like, oh, pretty looking game, nice art style, but kind of gameplay wise, is like, yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe I was like 30 minutes into it and I'm like, okay, well, I've already kind of completed a substantial percentage of this game and I don't want to go further. So yeah, so that was a quick
That's good.
experience it, uninstall it. And
That's
you
good
know.
that you have it in yourself to be like, I give up on this game, because not many people do.
yeah,
I probably would not have given up.
yeah,
But that's a bad on me, because I should.
yeah. So that was the thing. So that was like yesterday, I guess, where I was checking that out. Not for me, but I think some people, it's getting very like polarizing reviews, where I think some people are like all into it, and then others are probably more like me, were like, this is not a good game,
Yeah.
but it looks cool.
Hey, it's on Game Pass, so it's
Yeah.
free for you if you have
Free on Game Pass. Another pressing buttons
Hack.
famous quote.
Yeah.
And then what else? I think that was actually probably it in terms of like new games that I played. And then other than that, it was just our typical like game night. I think we only played Rocket League because last week we've been playing Shredder's Revenge, the new
Yeah,
Turtles game.
Ninja
So
Turtles.
we've been chipping away at that, and then we beat it last week, which was great. Then it's pretty much just exclusively played Rocket League, and then we had a special guest appearance from Deepaz, who does all of our artwork. So shout out to Deepaz. We did the 4-player like chaos mode.
Which was that
So Rocket League is generally like the standard mode is 3v3.
Soccer.
Chaos was it's 4v4, and
okay.
it is indeed chaos. But it was fun. It was good just to have like a different mode to play for a little bit.
As long as you got some W's.
Yeah, we got some W's, so that was a good night. I think that's it. I have a locked in delivery date for the TV unit. I know this has been
Well, that's funny because last week you was like next week.
Yeah, so they've lied to me 3 times in a row about the delivery window. So October 25th, it's here.
Well, so now it's next.
It's here.
They better buckle up because they don't want our angry fans giving them bad reviews. Get the pressing buttons army.
We got to get the herd.
Yeah, out there.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm just glad to. Maybe I'll do like a before and after. Like, people might be like, why does this guy keep talking about this fucking TV unit? It doesn't matter. Who cares? But it's just creating lots of chaos on like the other side of the camera here. So it's been like a source of like anxiety and frustration, like not being able to complete everything,
to put everything together and get it out of the way because you don't have this thing.
Yeah, because it's been like 3 months or something like that. So it's like, come on, guys, I gotta move on with my life here. So finally getting that, I'll get everything set up. So that'll be exciting. I can then start watching all of this TV.
Well, that's a good
TV
thing.
Content.
Like you're gonna have like a big library of things that you've been itching to watch.
Yeah, I mean it's really Edge Runners is the first thing, and then maybe the Lord of the Rings show.
Game of Thrones first.
I'm on.
You said House of the Dragon.
You said House of the Dragon first. Okay, yeah. So then there's that. Maybe I got to throw Chainsaw Man in there.
Yeah. Some Bleach, some Chainsaw.
So I got plenty of content now.
Yeah, and all you guys on Discord, all of our viewers and listeners, if you have suggestions, we do have a channel for TV and movie recommendations. So throw some out there for Nick, the last 3 months that he's missed out on anything, if you want to throw some in there, which I will be updating soon. I've been meaning to like go through our old episodes and kind of putting our recommendations on there just so, you know.
Well, mainly your recommendations, because I haven't really been contributing.
No, I mean in the like from our early episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think we do have a good taste, and I think all our listeners and viewers kind of share the same taste, so put them out there. You know, do some actual stuff on our Discord. But yeah, that does it for episode 39. So close to 40. Next week, 40. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, Nick has his TV stand by then, or otherwise.
No, it's the week after that.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, next week.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.